Great to be back in Toronto talking about AI because what else does anyone care about right now?
Yeah, that seems to be the what's it called the iPhone moment for AI right now.
So what do you think? AI, is it overhyped, adequately hyped, underhyped? I mean, where are we at in the hype cycle here?
I'll try to answer your question with sort of two responses. One, everyone remembers, for the last 3 years, Web3, crypto was all the craze. Um, and I remember getting a lot of comments, hey, if you guys are not in crypto, you're just too old, you're kind of out of it. And that, obviously going through some changes right now. Um, Having said that, we think AI is quite different. AI is what we call the 50-year overnight success story. Because of ChatGPT 3 and 4, it became a lot more popular, but people have been working on this problem for a long, long, long time. And so when we look at where we are with the cycle, it feels more like internet with the advent of browser in 1993, and this is more like the first 5 years of that. Even though internet has been around for a long time before the browser came out, and AI is at a cusp where there's just more application coming, more changes happening, more impact that's being created across all sectors that we have been investing. That it's just like there's something more that's bound to happen, and this could be a 10, 20, if not 30-year trend. You could invest, you know this, you've been following the internet for a long time. You could be investing in internet in 2003 and still make a lot of money. You don't have to do it in 1993. So for founders and for VCs, this is going to be a much bigger run, much longer run, and exciting to have a front seat now. But I would encourage people to think of in 2 or 3 iterations. The more you plan for ahead or focus on the present, the more you will see opportunities to allow you to do anything you're doing for 2, 3 iterations from today.
So within AI, what types of AI-related businesses are you guys looking at to invest in?
Good question. We kind of think of AI, initially we try to figure out how we're going to approach it. Is it more like SaaS, cloud, or is it more like something else? Is it more like, on the hardware side, more like investing in chip design? And we're trying to figure out what's the paradigm we could apply from previous experiences. As you know, we've been doing this for like 20 years. So there are many paradigms we can sort of look at and compare. As a team and through colleagues even in the audience, we decided that the approach we'll have initially is 3-layer. Looking at AI as the foundational layer, where you have the hardware, the chip design, and the large language models that build the basis, the foundation for other application and tools to come on top. The second layer will be the development tool, middleware layer, if you will. For the cloud era, there will be a lot of APIs and a lot of DevOps tools, a lot of open source software. That's kind of the middle layer for AI. Then the third layer will be the application layer for the different industries. This is where you see the very vertical solution SaaS tools. And this is impacting not just on enterprises, but also on consumer, on every sector, whether it's fintech, edtech, customer service. So both functionally and as well as industry-wise, you're seeing a lot of applications being built for that.
And so there's a lot of companies that are calling themselves AI now, or they say they can do AI. How are you going about vetting these companies and making sure they really have proprietary technology?
Right. And there are sort of 2 trends going on. One is moving into the AI era, leveraging ChatGPT or another large language model to do so. A lot of our portfolio companies are looking at that as admitting that part of the solution. For example, one of our portfolio company called North Star that provides financial advisory services to employees of large companies. And they're looking at ChatGPT less as a way to automate the advisory giving aspect, but more as becoming a tool for their CFAs, financial advisors, to use to help them to answer employee questions. So we're seeing that as more of an interim tool in something that's more specialized, rather than something like a consumer to type in and look for an essay or article from ChatGPT 4. We also have companies that have been around for a while. I can give you a few examples that have done a good job of applying AI to what they do for a long time, even before ChatGPT comes out. One of the company you know is called Otter.ai. They used to record your sessions. A lot of reporters use it in conferences, and they come out with a transcript in audio form or text form thereafter. And when we first invested in them, they had a single-digit kind of revenue, $1 million in revenue. And fast forward to today, they have applied their own AI tool because they have been transcribing 1 billion of these sessions over the last 5, 6 years. With that kind of data internally captured from recording all these sessions, they can come up with a much better meeting summary, suggest action plan after the meeting, and even facilitate discussions where it's not one person to one machine the way ChatGPT-4 works, but is a machine with several attendants in a meeting. And attendants can ask the AI assistant question like, what was said earlier, please remind us, and the AI will spew out in text or audio form something real time that was discussed in an earlier part of that meeting. So there are things like that that if you've been doing it for a long time, recording 1 billion sessions, you have data that ChatGPT-4 does not have that allow you to provide even more value-added services in real time in a way that's not possible before. And that's the exciting part of that. There are people who've been working on it for a long time, now get a boost with additional tools that's out there.
Recently, there have been some acquisitions in the AI space. Just yesterday, Databricks bought
Yep.
Mosaic, and there have been some other smaller deals. Are you foreseeing more M&A and strategic investment in AI-related businesses?
I mean, you cover internet, so you know, back in the 90s, there were a lot of M&As. People were coming up with interesting concepts and tools, and the big players started buying these in order to expand into new areas. My colleague, who's the head of platform team for us at GGV, Jen Holmstrom, knows the founder of Mosaic, and he was doing, this is his second startup. First startup, who was sold to Intel. And so for someone like that, you can see that person want to do more thereafter. Because we're still early stage of what the AI era is, there are going to be more tools and more things being built that bigger players want to expand and go into. One of the great sort of early success story coming out of here is Cohere. Cohere has come up with a product that a lot of people want. Even NVIDIA wants to invest in it and make sure that it's embraced by the newest technologies. And that's kind of thing just at the beginning of something that will happen more. And I think, in particular, great for Canada. Well, I remember our team, our colleague Rarish, know Aiden, met the Cohere earlier, and I wasn't smart enough to make that investment. I thought it's a science project coming out of academia, how are they going to monetize? And we're asking a radical VC today, and what they're sharing is that initially tried a SaaS approach. And when you're coming from Canada, you don't know the business problem you're trying to solve, you don't know the customers as well. How are you going to build a SaaS product that businesses in America will want to embrace and use? It's very difficult for anybody from Canada to do that. But then they decided to come up with an API monetization model. So you have an API, it's embedded in other people's product. So somebody in the US who knows the customers, who have the business solution, who has a SaaS product, will embed and leverage data from API from Cohere to make the product more intelligent, more efficient. And that's a great way for Canadian companies to go to market. So we're going to see more of that happening. Some could be acquired, some will be invested, and some could end up being the homegrown giant. And that's the exciting part. And it's a good time for Canada as well.
But some of them could be scandals, too. I mean, there's some companies that are starting to come under scrutiny that maybe they just don't have the technology that they say they do.
Correct. Internet went through a lot of that, and many companies raised a lot of money and they crashed. That's part of the creative destruction cycle, part of the cycle, as you know very well. So it is what it is. It will happen. Hopefully there will be fewer FTXs of the world, and we try to all be decent and do good things, and we do the best we can to help our portfolio company to scale.
And so how are you feeling about how AI will impact the broader economy? I mean, in terms of the job market, some people are predicting doom and gloom. Are you feeling that way?
Well, you and I know this back in 2013, 2014, 2015, autonomous driving was all the craze. It's like, it's going to happen in the next 5 years. There were 3 million truckers in America, and many of them will lose jobs. Hasn't happened yet. So there will be some impact. I'm not trying to be facetious, but also these are great tools for new things to be done with these tools. So new jobs will be created as well. So your job may be different. You may not do customer service for the next 10 years as you thought you may, but you'll end up using that tool for other value-add services. So we don't know exactly how it's going to go, but I'm remaining hopeful that as a job be affected, there will be new jobs being created as well.
And so now when you look at the geopolitical landscape, AI is becoming increasingly important with different countries like the US and China, competing to have the best AI technology. What do you think about the race, the arms race for AI?
Yeah. Now, AI is driven off of data. So you look at countries that have a lot of data will have advantage of training their models. At the same time, the breakthrough that ChatGPT has come is also takes time for the rest of the world to figure out how they're going to build their large language models. And LLM is not a game for startups anymore. You need lots of capital, computing power, and energy to train these models. So only the bigger players around the world will have a chance. You look at the size of market cap for publicly traded internet companies around the world, they're clustered around the US and China. So inevitably, you're going to see that happen. But from where we sit, US is ahead right now, for sure. China will try to catch up. Given all the geopolitical tension, it will be more self-sufficient. They will try to depend on their own, and it will take time for them to catch up. In the meantime, having these API-driven kind of approach makes it a lot easier to build new product and new solution here in the US. And the more data that you see in the Western world being accumulated and developing and train models, the faster it iterates. That's how anyone can stay ahead. In some sense, though, from where we sit, where we have seen companies competing, whether it's the TikTok or Temu or Shein, having competition is a good thing. It makes you less take for granted what you have. And you know there's somebody out there who can outsmart you. You work harder at coming up with more creative solutions. So in some sense, having some degree of competition is better for innovations.
And so what cities do you feel like have strong AI markets? I mean, right here, you mentioned Cohere, that got started in Toronto.
Yep.
Where are you seeing a lot of AI opportunity?
In the US, as you know, we have two offices in the San Francisco Bay Area, in the city as well as on Sand Hill Road, and we opened our office in New York last year in Nomad neighborhood, very close to the Flatiron Building. And so you definitely see that on the East Coast, whether it's in Boston or New York, you're seeing more and more kind of AI solutions coming up. Financial services is a big sector in New York, obviously, and so you're seeing a lot of AI companies addressing that need. But at the same time, you also see a lot of big tech companies, whether it's Datadog and others, people coming out and building the next generation of tech solution companies. Silicon Valley for sure, and we're seeing a lot of talent out of UC Berkeley, out of Stanford, and then over here, University of Toronto, University of Waterloo, and the teams being built in Canada, in Edmonton, in Vancouver. So you're seeing all the big clusters where a lot of great graduate students in computer science and engineering, great undergraduate programs will end up having an advantage of building something locally. But the good part, the saving grace of having COVID is that people now can work remotely. So you can have great teams that come from almost anywhere now.
What sectors do you think might be the most impacted by AI, and are you looking at investment opportunities that are disrupting those sectors?
Right. I mentioned earlier for the third layer, for application layer, we have companies that are doing that function by function or by industry. One example by function is Wiz.ai. It's based in Singapore. It's a team that was trained in the US, moved back to Asia, based in Singapore, and they have come up with a new TalkBot to help customer service to automate that and make that a lot smarter. We also invested in Zendesk before. Not saying that Wiz.ai would replace Zendesk, but you see next generation of customer service companies that's leveraging AI to do a job much better. Today, ChatGPT is only text, and you're seeing companies like Wiz.ai innovating on the audio side. And we're also seeing companies that are solving more another sort of vertical solution. Vic.ai is another portfolio we have. That Vic.ai leverage AI to automate accounts payable, to make payments easier, faster. By doing that and accumulating data, the process of how companies pay accounts payable, they come up with more automation and saves a lot of hours for their clients. So those are functional examples. We also have companies that's solving more vertical problem in financial services, whether it's more intelligent learning of consumer behavior, spending behavior, in order to detect fraud better. There's a lot of stuff going on almost in every single vertical as well. That's why we call it sort of late 1990s for Web 1.0 for AI. There's just a lot of stuff coming. You can see over the next 10, 20 years, you're going to be a lot more interesting. My daughter who's 15 years old. She was playing with a bot, and the bot is coming from the Renaissance. She's into fine arts, visual arts. So the bot is like an artist from Renaissance period. And the way she trains that bot and that conversation that she has with that person, she wouldn't be able to have with friends, because which her friend is from an artist from Renaissance period. So it's kind of just interesting to see things happening, and we're just at the cusp of that.
So if you're not an AI startup, do you have any hope of raising money right now?
The short answer is definite yes. We met a founder who was building ledger, general ledger, accounting. The hardest problem to solve in accounting is people a company make a lot of payments, and the payments are increasingly automated by engineers now. And engineers don't know accounting. So the finance department freaks out that the engineers are automating payments and have no visibility into that. So this company is doing intelligent ledger for every product line, make it easier for engineers to use it. It doesn't require a lot of AI to do it, but the way they've thought about solving that problem is very, very fundamental and very, very smart and very efficient. And they have a small team, they have amazing quality of engineers on the team, and I love how they're doing that without using AI, but it's something that we know is needed and is very embedded, sort of fits the theme of embedded fintech that we're investing. So we're seeing that because of the ecosystem that's possible through API, through companies working together, nuttier and harder problems deep in the core are being solved than ever before. Some requires AI, some don't. But fundamentally, it's just building a more efficient ecosystem overall.
All right, well, thank you so much. Great to get your thoughts on AI.
Yeah. You can tell I'm quite passionate about the topic.